Hello, this is a video tutorial of the choir arrangement for the song Lord I Need You. This arrangement is available on centeredworship.com, where you can get a copy of this arrangement for yourself. Alright, I'm going to go through section by section and explain the thinking behind the arrangement, offer some creative alternatives, maybe point out some potential trouble spots, etc., etc. Alright, verse 1. The song begins with a very short introduction, dives into verse 1. I've suggested in the arrangement that the lead vocalist, the worship leader, whoever, sing the first verse by himself or herself. But, of course, you're free with your own choir to do this however you want. Maybe you want the choir to sing along. I know in the past, when I've worked with choirs, in this kind of an arrangement, I would encourage the choir to either mouth the words or sing quietly. I would never tell my choir not to sing at all, because the whole point of these arrangements is for everybody in the room to be singing together. So I would never stifle singing, but I would try to cast a vision for the arrangement as a whole and what their role is in the worship service, that they are leaders as well, and just encourage them to be mindful of that, so as they're singing, maybe not sing as loudly, whatever. When you get to the chorus, starting here, moving into this section, you break out into 4-part harmony. Add a mezzo forte dynamic. Keep it warm, keep it smooth, keep it filled with conviction, and yet not forceful. Let it be solid, let the rhythms be tight, entrances and exits, but not in your face yet. Verse 2 starts out in unison, and then here at the last kind of section of verse 2, where you are, Lord, I am free, holiness is Christ in me. In the recording, the Matt Maher recording, it really builds up there. It kind of goes from a normal feel to really, really big. I've got a forte dynamic there. You may not want to do that. You may want to keep the whole verse the same feel. So just keep the choir in unison and maybe not do the parts. You may want to reduce that to a mezzo forte, maybe. Either way, it's up to you. There's creative freedom in this, interpretive freedom, however you see fit. That will serve your context best. Chorus after that verse is identical to the first chorus. You'll notice there are breath marks on occasion, and on other occasions there are rests. Those are for you as a choir director. Lord, I need you, oh, I need you is the end of a phrase. So I doubt most choir singers, I know I myself, would have a hard time carrying out 2 or even 3 phrases without taking a breath. So you might offer them a quick break here to take a breath. But be careful not to cut off, or not cut off, but leave the soprano suspension hanging. Need you, because they've got a suspension there. If your altos, tenors, and basses don't hang on for 2 full beats, then your sopranos are going to be hitting that A all by themselves. That might sound awkward. Make sure these notes are carried until that suspension is completed. I will say, these rests, you're my one defense, my righteousness. That's effective, I think, giving clear cutoffs and letting those 3-4 syllable words or phrases, have a definitive beginning and a definitive end. It gives it a kind of forcefulness to it. My one defense, my righteousness, there's a conviction behind that and a kind of preaching to oneself. So let the choir reflect that in the way that they sing. Let the entrances and the exits be clearly defined and clearly articulated and executed. You're my one defense. defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. It's really effective, I think. When you get to the bridge, this is where I took some artistic liberty, tried to do something a little bit differently. The sopranos, tenors, and basses all start on an ah, and it's a B flat note. And the altos take the melody. And then the altos go down to an ah, and the tenors take over the melody. Kind of like a call and response sort of thing. And then the altos and tenors sing a two-part harmony to the end of that phrase, and then the end of the bridge is four-part harmony. Jesus, you're my hope. Now, when I've sung this song in church, we do the bridge a couple times. If that's the case for you, I would suggest that perhaps you would want to have the choir have all of them the first time through sing those B flats. Maybe do a warmer sound like an or an ooh, and just the lead singer sings the melody, and then the second time through you do it as written. Just a suggestion. Alright, when you get to the last chorus, there's an optional soprano part, soprano divisi. I oftentimes do split the sopranos and give them two parts because generally speaking, you have a lot of sopranos in choir. You have most choirs don't even have any bassists, which I try to keep in mind when I split the parts. But there's usually plenty of sopranos to go around, and so I try to offer some alternate parts. You might want to repeat the chorus a couple times at the end, and one or two of those times the sopranos don't split, and then another time they do split. Think about some creative ideas like that, how you can alter it. You might even, in the last chorus, do it all in unison. Lord, that's pretty powerful too. The ending ends with the lead vocalist. I would give you the same advice that I gave in the first verse, which is, I would suggest not telling your choir to keep their mouths shut because, the people in the congregation, they're watching. Their eyes are facing the front. They see the choir up there, and if the choir's not singing, it's just sort of, even in a subconscious way, it's kind of discouraging to singing. Your church may get used to it and realize that the choir has entrances and exits, and times when they're singing, times when they're not, and they're handled like any of the instruments up there, but anyway, that's my thinking. Alright, hope this has been helpful. Again, this sheet music is available at centeredworship.com. Thank you.